back at the Collision Hub World's Fair and Exposition 2020 with our friends from AirPro Diagnostics and Subaru. We've got Devin with us today from Subaru as well, so we're going to talk about some AirPro Diagnostics, we're going to talk about some Subaru vehicles, and before we get kicked off, I certainly want to give a shout out again to the Collision Repair Education Foundation and encourage you to visit their website, make that $50 donation to the CREF/Chubb telethon, and $50 towards the Korean Technical School and College collision repair programs across the country, and score yourself one of those nice limited edition Chubb technician shirts.
Limited edition Chubb shirts.
Also, as you're watching today, don't forget to use the hashtag
Chubb World Fair 2020.
And we're going to continue to give away some stuff, and we got some more giveaways too. So if you also include in that hashtag AirPro.
Oh yeah.
We're going to give away.
We're super excited about this. For all you watching, use the hashtag AirPro, and we will pick a random person, not we, but they will pick a random person.
You can send me gifts. For
and we will actually place an AirPro at your location with no cost, no setup fees, and you'll be able to start diagnosing cars right away.
Awesome.
That's pretty awesome. We've had some great, just a shout, we have some great giveaways. Enterprise sponsored 10 people to get Chubb shirts to give money to the foundation.
Nice.
We've got some other
AMI's gonna give away some
AMI's giving away. There's more I can't keep track of the giveaways.
And we also have, again, use the hashtag Subaru Love, and we're gonna have a generous selection of swag from Devin's gonna send us. And I thought, I guess I'm not gonna be eligible. I was kind of disappointed about that. And then I went to the dealership to pick up this car, and look, I got some Subaru swag. I never thought I'd be excited.
Oh, there you go. We got Subaru face mask.
And now it's like a muzzle too on top of everything.
Wow,
So it's win-win.
It's not working.
We just put that on you when we want you to stop.
This is what happens when I don't want to go take a run to the dealership.
Yeah,
I don't get the swag. Damn.
So let's get started. Let's start with Devin, since maybe a lot of people know Josh and Eric, and certainly Kristen, unfortunately. Could you give us an introduction to yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, of course. Hi, so my name is Devin Wilcox. I'm based out of the Subaru of America U.S. headquarters in lovely Camden, New Jersey. I've been with Subaru for 7 or 8 years now, spent the majority of my career in our marketing department. And just back in mid-March, I accepted the position as the collision certification manager and began the role while working at my kitchen table amidst the COVID pandemic. So different set expertise coming into the collision world, but it's been a really exciting opportunity, and I'm thrilled to work with you guys on this project and getting our retailers and collision centers as part of the certified network. So thank you for having me.
Well, we're happy to have you here, and we really appreciate the stuff that Devin's been doing for us. He's been a great asset. He's jumped in some of our estimating 20 group and give us some information. We're going to be back with our technician 20 group. We're going to invite Devin back to that in December, so hopefully we can reel him in and get some more. So if you want to talk to Devin a little bit more face-to-face, ask him some one-on-one questions, we'll give him a little bit of prep time for that. We'll field those questions in advance, but the Collision Hub Technician 20 group, we're going to try to get him signed up for that. And,
so as a lot of people are jumping in. There's a couple hundred people between the two stream locations right now. So what I want to let you know is, if you're watching, we're going to cover a lot today. So we're going to talk about diagnostics, we're going to talk about Subarus. We've got Devin here to answer any questions, so make sure that you stay on this whole show live, because we're going to cover a lot of material today.
We are, yeah. So let's jump now. Let's have maybe Josh and Eric give yourselves an introduction and tell us a little bit more about AirPro Diagnostics and what you do.
Good.
Sure, yeah. My name's Eric Newell. For those who don't know me, I'm the Executive Vice President of Business Development here at AirPro. I'll let Josh introduce himself, and if you want to talk a little bit about what we do,
sure.
I'll turn it to you.
All right. Josh McFarland, for those that don't know me, Executive Vice President of Operations with AirPro. Been with the team now almost a year and a half, and been around the industry between the service side and the collision repair side for 25 years now. And always love working with the Collision Hub folks, and just glad to be here. So what do we do at AirPro? Remote diagnostics is the simplest definition, and what that really boils down to is we've got a lot of technicians on our team that are able to connect to the AirPro that is at your facility, connected to the car, and perform the diagnostics from a distance. So the software is connected to the vehicle. Whatever software you need, we've got it on the tool. It's connected to the vehicle, and the technician is located remote, kind of like having a remote IT help desk. Only in this case, it's technicians.
Yeah. And before we go further, I want to also give a shout out to Subaru of Little Rock for our
Absolutely.
loaner car here today.
Yeah.
So Devin, thank you very much
Absolutely.
for coordinating that. And again, thank you to
course.
Subaru of Little Rock for letting us do that. And this is kind of a continuation of an ongoing diagnostic university that Collision Hub and AirPro have been doing. And we started that back in March during our pandemic.
So
and
right around when the world shut down from COVID, we decided that we wanted to do webinars because everybody was going to be locked in, and we reached out and you guys jumped on, and we've done a series of webinars.
Absolutely.
And those are available on replay. So if you're on the YouTube channel watching the live stream now, or you've been watching the replays of the World Fair on the YouTube channel, dive on back a little bit and you'll find the previous webinars that we've been doing with AirPro. We're going to keep those going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So even as we shut down again, right? But we'll be having more webinars in the future. So definitely dive back in. We've got multiple OEs represented in that.
Yeah.
In that.
That's been a lot of fun.
Yep.
We got to
All
bring
right.
that awareness. Got to keep the awareness going, right?
yes.
Yeah.
It's my new
So-
soapbox.
The new soapbox.
Yeah.
This is it.
So what do you want to talk about?
You know, it's we're going to talk
The
about
weather.
a lot.
We want to talk about
Right,
the weather.
I mean, it's we could talk about a lot today, you know, but I really want to take the time that now that we have Devin on is talk about, you know, what's important when repairing Subarus, right? What's important when choosing partners, and you know, Devin, I guess I'll just ask you direct. You know, what's important to you guys when it comes to pre and post diagnostics?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's for our brand specifically. It's always been a priority for pre and post scan on all of our vehicles. And of course, you always hear the complications or the questions about, you know, when is it qualified to do a pre-scan versus a post-scan? How do you define an accident? Because you always hear that story about the car that hit the raccoon, and now it's a $20,000 repair because of, based on all of the inspections and R&I required. Long story short, we had updated our position statement not too long ago to include how we clearly define a collision, and then subsequently how and when pre and post scans are required. And it goes kind of twofold. The pre-scan is required more so to help get a better idea of the estimate needed. So you're able to more accurately inform your customer of what their total charges may be, or for the insurance company. Then likewise to do a post scan to really help drive that idea through, that all the work is completed, no wires are missed, no wires are crimped. And we even encourage our shops throughout the repair process to scan the vehicle between the multiple steps: before paint, after paint, before reassembly, before disassembly, after disassembly, just to make sure, again, like wires aren't crimped, paint over spray didn't hit a sensor. This way you're not worried about going back and troubleshooting the repair process, and therefore adding more time, increasing cycle time, touch time to get the customers back in their car.
Now, I don't know if Devin's ears were ringing last week, but we talked about Subaru quite a bit, and we really like that that you define what a collision is, because when we're going through these inspections, and we were talking about specifically about steering column inspections, we think it's a great foundation for what we'd love to see other OEMs adopt for, again, kind of defining what a collision is and tell us when exactly we should be doing these inspections. So kudos to you for that.
I think it's fair to say it's become sort of the exemplar for the industry. I mean, we're kind of toting it around in our back pocket as we meet with everybody, going, hey, could you do this too?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was huge.
Yeah, and then a point you put on there was I really like that you talk about doing a diagnostics in mid-repair, because in many instances through the repair process, you may be introducing problems that you, unbeknownst to you, that you may have to tackle at the end of the repair, adding that additional cycle time in there. So that's a key point in there that you mentioned, and I don't think a lot of people are doing it.
Well, and I want to add, and I know, I don't speak for Subaru, right? That's Devin's job,
Yeah.
right? But I think there are a couple of companies that don't just talk about safety, or don't just have. There are a couple companies in this industry that live safety, and I think Volvo is one of those companies, and then Subaru's right there. I mean, when we think about what the Love campaign means to Subaru, I mean, some of us think charity, but I think to them it means safety of the customers. I mean, so their advertising campaigns, the I Lived campaign, I remember that one being really resonating with me in the collision repair industry. But when we think pre and post diagnostics for Subaru, it's about a lot of things, but I think for me it drives down to, we built a car to make a customer walk away, and that's what people buy when they buy a Subaru, and they drive those cars for 200, 300, 400. It's almost like a badge of honor. I got 400,000 miles on that one.
That's right.
And so, it's
That's what I'm
safety.
saying. It's funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, coming from the marketing background and having a lot of experience in the marketing department, the Subaru Love Promise is something that it's not just something that we put on the window of our stores. It's something that we really exemplify in our employees and our lifestyle. And it goes beyond just, we have our core pillars of the brand, where it's safety is the utmost priority. Adventure and versatility, because your Subaru can and will take you anywhere. And then the longevity of it. They expect your cars, exactly like you said, to hit the 400,000 mile mark, and people are proud of that. We used to have a website where owners would upload a picture of their odometer reading, hitting the 300,000, 400,000 mile mark. And we recently had a customer send us a picture of their, I think it was an 02 or an 03 Forester that hit the 400,000 mile mark with the original engine in it, which is, it's so cool to see these types of stories.
And that's the thing about this is who this company is. Subarus make second generation of the family. Parents pass on to kids. When we fix these cars, we're not only, like right now the car comes in and there's a car seat in the back, and I'm fixing the car right now and I'm thinking about that car seat. But then I also have to know in about 15 years that car seat's going to become the driver of this car, and I'm fixing this car for the long haul. So sometimes people go, they'll trade it in a couple years. Not a Subaru. That's not getting traded in. They're going to own it forever. The
other thing about Subaru owners, and Eric and I talked about this last night, and I know Devin, we talked about this in some of our calls too, is like Subaru owners know their vehicle like more than anybody else out there. We did a show last week on the owner's manual and the importance of understanding what's in there, because we're pretty sure your customer knows what's in there. And I think Devin
you nailed it right on the head. We get emails and hard actual pieces of paper mailed to our corporate office on a regular basis of owners who read through the owner's manual, find things they think may be wrong or things that they want us to change or address. And we take that all to heart, and we have a whole whole dedicated page on our website on Subaru.com for Dear Subaru, where it's people writing us letters, not just about the owner's manuals, just about their experiences with the brand or their vehicle, or how their vehicle saved their life, or how eyesight, our ADAS feature, really helped them prevent a major collision or major accident in their family. So it's really great to see. To your point, our owners are unique in the best way possible. They read the manual, they understand their vehicles inside and out, and they buy it to enhance their already active lifestyle. So it's really exciting to see this kind of coming back to the brand and how we can really flourish the safety component more or less.
From a collision repair standpoint, again, because of who Subaru owners are, that's why, again, it's important to make sure that all of our vehicles are repaired safely, obviously, but again, that Subaru customer, they've got a level of expectation. They want that vehicle to perform as designed when it leaves your shop, and I think that's a critical component, again, from a communication standpoint, from that trust standpoint.
Well, I mean, if you're in this industry, if you're going to be a collision repair, you better love your customer. And you better love them in ways that sometimes even their own family don't love them. And that love is fixing that vehicle right. And that's why I love the Love campaign, because we've been screaming this for years. If I'm going to be a body tech, if I'm going to be a shop owner, if I'm going to be an estimator, my job is to love that customer by the way I fix their car. So I'm just super excited. No pressure now, boys. Fix the car right.
Well, I think that's important, and something Devin and I spoke about before is, Subaru has partnered with multiple third-party platforms that provide remote diagnostics, and those partnerships, they vet them. They're very important to them.
It's tough,
because of that love process. Not just anyone can be on this program. AirPro is one of the applications that you could use for remote diagnostics on the Subaru Repair Network. So Devin, why was it important for you guys to partner with third parties to provide that service?
So for the Certified Collision Network, there's three scanning devices that we permit our collision centers to use for their scanning solution. One is the AirPro piece, obviously. We also have partnered with Aztec. And then the factory solution that we offer is a Denso unit through Newspire, who every retailer across the country has the Newspire Denso device in their shop. And the reason we partner with multiple partners for this solution is if your shop has multiple certifications, and Honda or Acura or Toyota may also qualify the Aztec device or the AirPro device as part of their certified solution. We want to give shops the availability and the flexibility to not be focused on one device that's going to be potentially sitting on a shelf depending on how often the Subaru may roll into their shop or not. So it's about making sure that the shops have flexibility, and there's a cost to it, obviously, and to buy a $3,000 brick that may sit on your shelf until the next car rolls in, it could be cost prohibitive.
Sure. That's a great point, and I think the other part of the secret sauce for us is having the right technician on the vehicle, the right technician on the Subaru all the time, right? Having a Subaru specialist on that car, making sure that we get down to component level diagnostics and not just simply scan and clear codes. So, Devin, if someone were to tell you, I'm just going to scan and clear the codes, what's the first thing that pops in your mind from Subaru when you think of that?
I'm sorry, say that question again.
If someone were to tell you they're just going to scan and clear the codes and move on from the car, what's the first thing that would come to your mind?
That's not part of the procedure, right? And it goes beyond just following the pieces of paper that are the repair procedures. When you do a pre-scan on a vehicle, it's really to understand how the vehicle is coming in pre-collision. We hear stories every now and then of a car that may be involved in a rear-end collision and do a pre-scan, and all of a sudden the radio may not be working for some reason. And we come to find out it was a pre-collision condition. So you have this customer who comes back after the work is done, and thankfully the shop did a pre-scan, and the report showed the head unit is not working for whatever reason. They do the post-scan, the head unit's still throwing the same code, customer drives away. A few weeks later, they come back saying the head unit's still not functioning. Well, lo and behold, it wasn't anything to do with the collision. It was something that had happened beforehand. The kid stuck a toothbrush in the cassette deck or whatever it may be. So it's for those reasons, especially, that's important to really do the pre-scan, get an understanding of what error codes are being thrown or what trouble codes are being thrown. Not just to safeguard yourself from pre-collision issues, but then also to do a better job with the estimates that you're giving to the customer or through the insurance companies, so we get a better idea of what the total bill may or may not be.
Right. So we have an example.
All right.
Right.
Is there a toothbrush
in this vehicle?
Wait.
There's a toothbrush in the cassette deck.
Wow.
I just like that we're talking about cassette decks.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of us may be being a little dated and showing our age, talking about cassette
It's not an
deck.
8-track. We didn't go that far.
Many people may not know what that is, but we actually performed a diagnostic on this vehicle here that was donated. Were we able to get that look? Was not able to get it up on the computer, but we could speak to it, right? There were 2 active DTCs in the vehicle. Both had to do with the entertainment system, right? So it seems pretty simple to all of the normal person. It's an entertainment system. There's nothing wrong with the car, but that necessarily wasn't the case here. So this is where the right technician on the vehicle doing a full diagnosis came into play through live information, live testing. We're able to find an issue with the active grille shutter, right? So this vehicle was
Hold up.
Yeah.
The non-techie person on the set, y'all probably going to regret inviting me. Okay. I
Usually
had
do.
radio.
Yeah.
Be gone. No,
You're in her building right now.
That's
all right.
I had 2 radio codes.
2 radio codes, entertainment system codes.
And your technician drilled the 2 radio codes down to a grille shutter issue. Did I get lost?
Yeah, we don't stop at just the DTCs, and I think that's what's so important on having an expert on the vehicle. We don't take a look at the DTCs, clear them, and move on. We're not DTC diagnostics. We do component level diagnostics. So we go through and we do functionality tests, and you could probably speak to this far better than I, but we're actually testing live data through the vehicle to give the system a full diagnosis, and I'm sure you have added.
So our technician Jay called as he was performing the scan, and Jay called me. He says, "All right, I need you to check a couple things. First of all, the steering wheel shows to be a few degrees off center. Do you actually have it straight ahead, or is the steering wheel off center?" And so I checked, and the steering wheel was off center a little bit. So I straightened it out, and he says, "All right, nope, it's showing 0 now. Good to go." Okay, what about the passenger seat? Passenger seat shows to be all the way back. Can you go move it and make sure that it's moving and so I can check that, and the occupant weight sensor? Put a little pressure on the seat. These are things that you want to check as part of a pre-inspection as you're going through this process with.
Why might I want to know if the seat's all the way back? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, you've been in an accident, right?
Right.
In theory, that's the application here. So you've been in an accident. You want to make sure that seat it's got an occupant sensor, it's got a position sensor. You want to make sure that those sensors are responding correctly, so
And
that
it has
in
those
the future.
Sensors, right? Because
Yep.
it wants to know where I'm at when there's a wreck, so it knows what to deploy to protect me.
Absolutely.
So it's not like it just wants to know where
what
I'm
to
sitting.
deploy, how fast to deploy
Yeah.
it, etc.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're not just resetting the seat positions to the comfort level of the driver. Right?
No,
There's
So
no.
1, 2, 3 settings.
Okay, so
on
but
that?
I want to know how he got to active grills, because I'm going to be honest, radio codes I'd have been like, not my problem, call the customer. And
That's
Right.
right.
yeah.
So as he's going through, technician's got a checklist of things that he's going to go check live and make sure that they're performing and acting correctly. In this case, the grille shutters were not. So we were able to perform a calibration in order to get the grill shutters and acting correctly again.
Can I build a dealership for that? No? Okay. I'm just
I already mentioned to Devin that we're going to ship the dealership a bill. And, and that's interesting though. So Josh, just clearing, or there was nothing to clear with the active grill shutter. He actually had to go in and
he had to go
perform some form of work type calibration.
Correct. That's correct. He had to go check. He had to go look at it.
Now, one thing I think that certainly brings up is, and what we've talked about again, is having that benefit of having that expert on the other side.
Right.
Because if it's me, and or Chris and I are going in there and trying to figure it out, right? We're not going to get there. But having a remote diagnostic technician that's an expert on that particular.
Don't point at me.
Where's Jacksonville? That way.
Yeah.
So having an expert down in
Jacksonville.
they can walk you through that, because I wouldn't have thought about those things necessarily.
Sure.
So it's I think that's one of the benefits of having it, is that then you can have that person on this end doing the commands that you need them to do.
Absolutely.
But you've got an expert that understands why we're doing it.
Well, if we think about it, so we've talked this week. Like I said, this is kind of one of my new soapbox, items. Is that I got all I can handle right now with the collision repair, right? Yeah. The welding and the metals and everything that I have to know is the collision repair tech touching the car. But I think we all can relate. I can go buy the latest and greatest welder, and thanks, Miller shipped us a really great welder. Yeah. But Jason, can I weld?
Not from what I've seen.
No. So it doesn't matter how good the welder is, I still can't weld because I don't do that. So it doesn't matter. I could go buy the latest and greatest, a scan tool or whatever, but that doesn't turn me into a diagnostic technician. No. And I'm not aware of any school I can go to that within a week I can come back and be a diagnostic expert. And so having someone that is not only good at diagnostics, but good at diagnostics with that particular brand of the vehicle I'm working on, that knows, I may be looking at something and say, it's no big deal, we're good to go. And your technician with that particular brand having that skill set goes, no, when I see that, it means this, and historically I've had to do this. That's huge. And that's part of that. If we go back to, do you love your customer? Yeah. If you had a heart attack, would you go see a podiatrist? And the answer is no.
Right.
I want a cardiologist for that. So if I love my customers enough to make sure that the most critical thing, the last step is all the safety systems working on this car, is everything ready to go for the next accident, that's not me. It doesn't matter how much I care or how much I want to study. I know that's not my skill set. I need you to do that for me.
And you should the shop. You shouldn't feel bad that you can't do it.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's not your lane, right?
Well, so let's talk about that for just a second, because we've talked about this in a couple other broadcasts we've done with you. But we've got, I mentioned before, we've got a big group of technicians there at AirPro that are doing this day in and day out. I don't have any technicians that I would expect to be able to perform a diagnostic on anything that lands on the board, which is what we call it, right? So anything that comes in, I don't have any techs that can just do all of it.
You don't have a Swiss Army knife, a utility tool?
No, we've got teams, right? And so Jay, the technician that was working on this vehicle, is one of our Subaru branch specialists. He's the team lead for the Subaru group. And he's the one that was working on this, because he works on Subarus day in and day out. And so, if you know your way around a scan tool, you don't know your way around the ins and outs of every vehicle that are going to come in without staying on top of that. And let's say that you've been at it for 20 years. When the 2022 comes out, you've got just as much experience as anybody else. Yeah. None. When that thing first hits the street. And so everybody's learning at the same pace.
I
at
like
that.
We
got
capture that quote there for our wrap-up show.
I like
this week.
We bill that.
Yeah.
Let's pay for that.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
I think it just, not to keep going on about the same point, but I'm going to ask you to maintain your composure. There's no easy button for this stuff, right? And
no,
we're seeing that, and we all have it. Which scan tool should I? There's no simple answer to that, because it really depends on so many different variables, so many different factors. But one thing that we do know is I can't just plug it in, hit that clear code button, and walk away.
Right. So now I'm going to talk about the flip side of the coin, because there are some easier buttons out there.
Understood.
And that's partnering with third-party company to remote diagnostic. It utilizes proper software, proper technicians, and with the proper vehicle. Because in that case, you don't have to be the expert. You can simply click a few buttons and let someone else come in and take over.
Because you've got a team. It's not just you.
It's a whole
You've
team.
got a team
Right.
available.
It's definitely not me. I mean, you don't want me
Understood.
logging into your tool.
Nope.
Now, Devin, because I feel like we've excluded you the last 10 minutes, and you're here.
So by all means.
You're here. What kind of technologies should the repair facilities be specifically worried about when dealing with Subarus? What should they be on the lookout for through these repairs?
So the one thing we really push through the repair process, obviously the R&I and inspections post-collision. So we've had a lot of conversations with our certified network about the post-collision inspections, and so much so like following down the procedures of, so drop my water bottle on the ground.
Easy there.
Set a code.
Where was I going? So the post-collision inspections and the importance of doing them, and it goes beyond the inspecting the airbag system, because obviously if in post-collision you don't know if an airbag clip breaks, you don't know if the airbag is dislodged, you don't know if it's facing the wrong direction, and a DTC isn't going to throw to tell you if it's facing the wrong direction. So it's important to really focus in on those inspection procedures post-collision.
That's excellent.
We have a question coming in.
Yeah.
Hopefully we
for
have an
you.
answer.
Well, we're going to put you on the spot. So
Yeah.
Dean wants to know, what do you do for your technicians to keep them up to date on the latest and greatest vehicles?
It's a great question, and he handles all the training.
Yeah, absolutely. So we tackle that a couple different ways. So one, they're able to go out and take training from industry partners, watching sessions like this, but on different topics. Obviously, the different OEs in the marketplace, they make some or all of their training available. We've also got a team internally that is developing and delivering training on a regular basis. And then there's the ongoing research that they're doing day in and day out. It's the only thing they're doing is using a scan tool to diagnose cars. And so when that's all you're doing day in and day out, yes, you need some training and things like that to keep aware of what's coming, but you're getting, no pun intended, a crash course in it every day.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're doing 8 hours a day, is scanning vehicles with diagnostic software. So that in and of itself does a lot for it, but we also have training mechanisms and things like that internally as well.
That's good.
We just have them watch Collision Hub videos.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Nonstop.
like that answer.
That's
yeah.
it. Just go
Yeah.
do Collision Hub videos.
It works for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else? I know you got some other questions.
Oh,
too.
we have all. I didn't know if you had another question, but yeah, I have all kinds of questions.
I mean, just one other thing I guess I can add into this also is we talk about what systems really focus on, and I can tell you just from our perspective and what our position as a brand when it comes to like ADAS calibrations is that while we understand that the scanning devices can do proper ADAS calibrations, our preference, our position is that your local retailer, Subaru retailer, is the one that performs the calibration. Since the eyesight cameras are unique to Subaru, our preferred method is to have that subbed out to your local dealership.
And there's specific like tooling for that too, right, Devin? There's targets and things that are proprietary to Subaru. It's not something that I can just go buy from any old company and have my own set of something, right?
The targets are available, I believe, just based on right to repair. But the training behind it is something that's very specific for Subaru. And sure, you can do the calibrations at your shop. However, it's our position that that work is be done at a local retailer.
And I'm good with that because I mean, I think when I think about what eyesight and what it does and all that, I want to make sure the customer's right. And so if that's back to the dealership and I know that there's a comfort, I'm good with it.
Yeah,
Doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
We have a few customers that have gotten the space because you need an exorbitant amount of space to do calibration.
Right.
You need the right building. You need a flat level surface. Special paint on the floor helps that you could write on. Special trainings. If they've went through all those, we could support them through that process. But we do have customers that reach out and they want to get in the calibration game and they don't have the space. They don't have the training, don't have the equipment. Well, at that point, we make the decision also that we're not going to force the issue and partner, right? We could point you in the right direction, dynamics and things like that, but there's no gray area here. People's lives are at stake with these systems, period. And each decision we make between repair facilities and AirPro Diagnostics are either going to protect people's lives or they're going to put them in danger. There's no middle ground there for us. So it's very important that if you are going to get into the calibration game, that make sure you have the correct space and environment and tools and training to do so.
Yeah.
So I've got one for Devin. Devin, so what's coming in future releases with Subaru that you can talk about? Are there any new systems that are coming? Is there any new features that are coming? So help me help the technicians that are out there that want to be prepared.
Yeah, so there's really nothing new that I can speak about publicly. However, with our eyesight technology, that's always advancing. So with the current generation Outback and Legacy, we introduced a new feature, lane centering, which goes beyond just kicking the steering wheel off the lane, but it really does a great job of putting it in the middle. Not to autonomous driving yet, but it's getting closer on the progression of it. It's important, really, the ADAS features especially. This is why we really push for that calibration to be done in a Subaru retailer as opposed to being done in your shops.
And just to be clear, when Subaru refers to their system as EyeSight, that's an all-encompassing kind of brand name for all of the ADAS functions. Is that accurate?
Yeah, more or less. There's features that are built into the side view mirrors to help with. I forget which feature that's part of, but there's a few other components that help make up the entire ADAS system. But EyeSight, the two cameras behind the rearview mirror are pretty do most of the work. Yeah.
Okay.
And which comes standard, I believe it comes standard on all automatic transmission vehicles, with the exception of the BRZ, which we actually launched the 2022 BRZ today. So go to Subaru.com and check that out for the latest and greatest on that.
I would like to road test that if y'all have it's like some sort of driving school. I'm in if you need me.
Here's maybe a shameless plug real quick while we're talking about the new BRZ. It actually has a new engine in it. It's still, I don't have the details in front of me right now, but yeah, it's a new powertrain under the hood, and looks sleeker. It's modern. It's gonna impress turn some heads out there.
Yeah, you're talking about the EyeSight, Josh, and I think as a collision repair professional, we need to understand what that system is, how it's designed to function, and what the features are. And we talked about that in our owner's manual conversation the other day. Subaru's got a great little supplement in there that kind of really walks you through different EyeSight things and what each of those different systems are designed to do. And the critical part of that is really, I think, so when post-repair, when I'm driving that vehicle and road testing to make sure that all those systems function properly, I, as a collision repair technician, need to understand, how that system is designed to function for me to be able to effectively know whether it's performing as designed.
Yeah, you got to know what lights are supposed to turn on, what your steering wheel is supposed to do, because if it's not performing that function, you'd have no ability to know whether it's working in a positive or negative fashion. So that's probably one of the most important aspects of the post-collision repair is the functionality test at the end of it, the drive. It's not just a rattle and shake test anymore.
Well, we've been talking all week now. We're on day 8 of the World Fair. Jason's like, when do I get to go home? But anyway.
Soon.
In the past for collision repair, there were things like, let's say I put the quarter panel on wrong, and if that car is hit again, I may or may not endanger the customer. With what we're doing with diagnostics and calibrations, if I don't get that right, that vehicle may cause an accident. So these systems keep customers safe, where it used to be I fixed a car and hope it doesn't get hit again. Now if I don't fix a car right, it's going to hit somebody else or run off the road or change lanes. Or we talked about basically catastrophic braking incidents, yesterday and stuff. So there's just so much that's there that's beyond. I mean, I know what stair limit I can climb. Boop, I'm done, right? Yeah. And so I have to have people that can jump in and take over that knowledge for me. And you can only carry a load so far, right?
That liability piece is scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, that's what anybody that tells me they want to get in the calibration game, I go, ooh, let me talk to you about the liability. Because, it's just so much more. I think it's more liability than what I'm doing when I'm welding on panels. So.
Well, we established that you can't weld panels, though.
Yeah,
but if you take our new virtual welding program,
I can glue them.
You take our new virtual welding program, you're not going to be able to pass that.
And I'm not going to be able to pass that either. And I know it's just that's a mental break. I think for the last 10 years, people have been trying to teach me to weld. I just don't do it well, right? I'm good with customer out front.
Let's acknowledge it.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, I know what stair limit I have.
Yeah.
One.
Devin, another question coming in for you. if I have questions about the Subaru collision repair network itself, where would I go to find the information? How do I learn more about it? If I've got questions about it, where can I go for that information?
Yeah, so there's a lot of good information on Subaru.com/certified collision. And if not, you can also shoot me or the team an email, and that'll be certifiedcollisioninfo@subaru.com. I've got a great team from Wadsworth International helping us support the network to really take it to the next level. So any emails that come in, we're always quick to respond and get in there for you.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the love promise, and Devin, we did get into a little bit. What makes the Subaru customers different than any other customer?
Yeah, so our owners are, I said earlier, they're super unique. They pride themselves on their vehicle ownership. They read the manual cover to cover. They understand the nuts and bolts and intricacies of their vehicles so much so. And they understand technology really well too. So, you know, I had an instance where I was talking to a body shop of mine and on the certified network who recently had gotten some work from a customer who was curious why they were on the certified network, but their local retailer was not, even though they had brick and mortar collision. And the customers were, they were loyal to the retailer for sales and service. But when it came for the collision work, they wanted to make sure that their car was being serviced and repaired by a certified network location as well. Because obviously with the right tools, the right training, the right expertise, the right focus on safety as a paramount feature of our network, they want to make sure their car was taken back to the correct pre-collision condition. Safety is paramount. It's what makes our brand so unique. And not just the vehicles that are created, but then our owners who drive them as well.
Yeah, and I'll just say, Devin, so for most people, I got involved kind of with Subaru on a political level back in the 90s and doing some things, but Subaru loves their customers in ways that a lot of companies don't. And because of that, the customers pay that back. So there's a lot of people that go buy a car because they like the style or the interior or the engine or whatever. There's a lot of people that buy Subarus because Subaru loved them first. And so those owners are they're passionate because there's not a, it makes a big difference. It does.
Sure.
I think
And the other person you nailed. I mean, love is it's a word that echoes in our hallways that we're building, and it goes beyond just the love campaign that everyone's also familiar with. But we have this idea, the Subaru Love Promise, which is Subaru's promise to our owners and our local communities of our retailers to give back, not just because it's good for business, but because it's the right thing to do. So throughout the calendar year, Subaru as a brand encourages our local retailers, as well as us from the U.S. headquarters, to participate in activations on a regular basis. In April, it's Subaru Loves the Earth, where we participate in environmentally friendly, environmentally helpful activities. In June, it's Subaru Loves to Help and Care, where we help or care for local community outreach programs. In October, it's Subaru Loves Pets, where we partner with local animal shelters or adoption events. In August, it's Subaru Loves to Learn, so we partner with local schools to either donate supplies or help the local children in some capacity. And then right now, I believe tomorrow is our official kickoff of our season of giving with the Subaru Share the Love event, where I actually have the details up over here. This will be our 13th year of the Subaru Share the Love event, where for every vehicle purchased or leased during the period, Subaru will donate $250 to a charity of the customer's choice, of 4 different national charities, and there's some component of local charity giving as well, of the retailer that the vehicle is being purchased from. So love is a word that resonates throughout our hallways. It's important to the brand, it's important to our owners, and just as we give to our owners, at the end of the day, it is tires and metal, but it goes beyond that. It goes to the heartstrings of our ownership.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just said I love those campaigns. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
We did have another question come in around the dealerships, and I don't know again if you're the best person to answer this, but maybe you can point us in the right direction. But are there tools available that Subaru kind of corporate makes available to the dealerships with regard to collision repairs and some of the technology and what needs to be done? I'm not necessarily around Subaru vehicles, but we oftentimes we'll get our Pick-a-Tech customers calling and saying we called the dealership and they said this doesn't have to be done, but we know it does have to be done because look in the owner's manual. Are there tools that you make available to the dealers to prepare for collision repairs?
Yeah, so within our STIS, Subaru Technical Information Systems database, it has all of repair manuals in that. That includes service, mechanical, and body repair. So STIs is available on a subscription basis. And all of our retailers have that as part of their retail agreement. And all of our collision shops are given that as a free subscription during their tenure as a certified location as well. And in there, like I said, is everything from the service manuals through to body repair, post-collision inspection procedures as well.
Can you have something, Eric?
No,
Sorry,
but I will
before I
add to
jump
that.
in.
I think it's very important that they have access to the proper tools and information to repair it correctly. I think that's one of the largest challenges, and you guys speak about it often, is not only having access to it, but having the understanding to take the paper to hands, right? It's I've been in many shops where the repair procedures information are on the dash of the car. You can tell they've never even been opened, folded, and the car's ready for paint.
They pulled them. They just
Right?
didn't do it.
They pulled them and put it in there, and that's kind of part of our secret sauce is we have the ability to translate the data that we pull from the vehicle and the testings that we perform, and we put it in a nice packaged, user-friendly report for you, so that you could effectively communicate it to the technicians or your customer to determine how the vehicle needs to be repaired. Because just telling them, well, you had a problem with your entertainment system, Kristen, but we had to redo an active grill shutter.
Yeah.
They're gonna look at me like, what? I brought it in here for a car wash, right? What are you talking about? So we put it into a nice user-friendly report to be able to get that communicated to the end user so that the proper repair can be completed.
So Tommy's got a question here, and Tommy, I'm gonna show the guys your questions. I'm not quite following it, but they're way smarter than me.
While they do that, I just want to remind everybody again. So we've got some giveaways too. We got a nice swag, some swag coming from Subaru. So hashtag Subaru Love in our feed if you're watching today. Hashtag AirPro if you'd like to score yourself some AirPro Diagnostic equipment. And I did forget to mention at the beginning. I apologize, but AirPro is also making for anybody watching today an ADAS ready assessment. Available to all reviews, so go to AirProDiagnostics.com/ADAS to fill out that ADAS assessment. So anybody that's watching today, visit that website for your complimentary ADAS readiness assessment.
And if you'll help me when this show is over, please help me, and I will put that link on so it's clickable.
I did look at Tommy's question, and it was, I believe it said, how many levels of diagnostics before it needs to go to the dealer? I'm going to try and answer this to the best of my ability, not really understanding the context behind the question, but that depends fully make, model, user, tech. There's a lot of variables in there, but what's that?
No, I was agreeing.
Our technicians will take it as far as we can safely for the vehicle. If there's a procedure or something indicated that we cannot perform remotely with the utmost confidence that we are following what is required by the OE, and we actually have probably more stringent safety standards than many times the OEs do, we will then inform the customer that it needs to go to the dealer for some form of diagnostic, calibration. We do give that recommendation in the report, but that is purely make and model and crash specific. And I hope that answered, probably sound like a politician answer, but that's the only answer I could give, not knowing the context behind
What was the question?
question.
I don't I've lost it.
Right? Yeah. Newell 2020, right?
That's over.
Yeah, too late.
2024.
Too late. Next time.
Yeah, right.
4 more years.
All right, what else?
Oh, there's a ton more. Did you mention the Subaru's giveaway stuff? I don't know if I
Yeah,
I
we
did,
did.
yeah. So
Okay.
as you were looking
Pay
through,
attention.
Oh, as I was reading
Pay
the
attention,
question.
Newell
So I know
2024.
That's right. Yeah. I guess we, I guess at this point, I mean, we're almost up on time anyways. So, are there any other questions available from the group?
We're good.
good.
I see. AirPro's jumping in here and answering some questions as well. So
Good,
your team's
good.
working.
Yeah, we got it.
But yeah, lots of Subaru love hashtags, lots of AirPro hashtags. Y'all beat me on my own hashtag game. I can't even.
Well,
Up our game.
that's our goal. If you have any questions through the process for us, we'll make our information available to everybody, either through a post here or however
Yep.
you guys get that out there. I do want to thank Devin for taking the time out and spending some time with us today. We take our partnerships with the OEs very, very seriously, and we're honored to be partnered with you through the network, and surely we'll continue to do what we need to do to meet that promise to your customers.
Yeah. And I know I've missed Devin on the times he's jumped in on the 20 groups and stuff with, raising kids and football. It's been crazy in COVID life. But Devin, just take back to your team that love the whole thing. At Collision Hub, guy, we appreciate that. And we think more OEs and more body shops need to be talking about how you love your customers. And when you just say that word out loud, when you go, do you love your customers? Not do you like them? Or do you love when you say it out loud, it just automatically raises the bar, it pulls your shoulders back and says, I got to work a little harder on this repair.
Yep.
And so I just think if we said that word more often, we'd just be in a whole lot better place than where we are now. So I appreciate y'all putting that out there and just keep pushing it, because we're going to keep screaming it.
And you don't always have to like them. Let's talk my kids. I always love them.
Right.
Sometimes I don't like them.
Right. Sometimes I like some better than the others.
That's right.
But
I always love them.
But that's a great
for sure.
when you if I love my customer, I love them in spite of themselves. I love them even when they don't know what they want. So if they say, no, I don't want that done to my car, I know to push past that and still love them enough to do it anyway. And then I love them enough to fight for them, even if they don't want to fight for themselves. It's my job to fight for the right repair. And so Jason's like, well, is that why you're always fighting? Yeah, that's why, I'm okay with getting up in the morning and putting on the gloves if that's what I got to do.
And I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
really am, because it's for the right reason, and you're
He loves you
passionate
for it.
I love you for it.
I
yes, yes,
talked
there
too
you
long.
go.
I'm so sorry.
It's quite all right. We got some more coming in or not?
So can AirPro work on a test drive? If we're doing test drives with cars, does AirPro work with that?
Yeah, so we can tackle that a couple of different ways. So if that test drive, let's
Really
tie-
long Ethernet? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no.
We had the other day.
Obviously, you can go the hotspot route.
Right.
If the software is on the tool, it's connected to the vehicle. It depends on whether or not the technician still needs to be connected to the software.
Right.
So if it's a dynamic calibration, for instance, and that requires a road test, we can start that process, put the tool and the vehicle into learn mode so that it goes off on and performs the test drive and comes back. And we can go along for that ride if they want to keep us with a hotspot of some sort, or not. We don't have to be connected for that. We can reconnect when it comes back to the shop.
Okay.
So a couple different ways to tackle that.
Yeah, that's one of the largest differences with our system and others, is that the software is on the tool, so it allows you to do some other things that you may or may not need to be connected to the internet for. So
Right.
That would be probably one of the larger differences.
I should have closed it. I'm
It's
so
looking like
sorry. I know that you
another-
guys have
more
places to
questions.
go, but questions are rolling in.
No, questions are good.
Sorry.
Jason's just
Yeah, that's right.
Jason's reading slow.
I should have somebody else read it, right? So,
He's from Wisconsin.
hey.
You notice the Arkansas
Yeah.
one's not reading it.
We've got, so I'm just going to read it here. Vehicles equipped with eyesight call for calibrations if the eyesight may have been shifted during a front-end collision. This is a procedure that Subaru recommends to be done at the dealer. Are all vehicles involved in a collision going to end up at the dealership? Well, again, Devin kind of touched on it, I think, earlier with the, because of the specificity.
Specificity.
Yes, that word.
Wow.
With some of the calibrations, Subaru is recommending you bring those back to the dealership for a lot of those calibrations.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of.
And I'll say, so all cars going back to the dealership after I'm finishing fixing them is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that we're not valuable to our customer, and it doesn't mean that we lose repair or lose whatever. But that eyesight is critical. It's doing so many things to protect the customer.
Sure.
I'm good with that. It's like, going back after a heart surgery and getting a checkup. I'm good with that.
100%. And in many.
And just to add to that, Chris, and I mean, if anything, it does well for your collision center to help build that relationship with this local retailer for work such as that, so the work can easily be subbed out, and hopefully some sort of partnership can be formed between you and your local Subaru retailer as well, where they may be reciprocating benefit for both stores.
Yeah, and it goes back to the question that was asked earlier about informing the dealerships of some of the collision repair aspects. Again, if you can build that rapport, build that trust, build that love, then you can have that.
Well, that Subaru customer is going to be really happy when you say, and when we're done, we're going to take it to the dealership. We're going to verify that everything is good and back to you. That's going to make a Subaru customer go,
Yeah, and it's important. That doesn't negate the need for a post-diagnostic. A lot of people feel that, well, hey, it's got to go to the dealer. I'm going to finish it, ship it to the dealer for XYZ. But the post-diagnostic, we find many times when it hits a calibration center or a dealership, XYZ is still wrong with the vehicle. And it's got to come back to the shop for some form of subsequent repair.
I'm accountable for everything.
That's
and
right.
I love the dealers are doing the best they can to keep up, just like we are. And when that car comes back from the dealer, I give it one more final check over because that's my promise to the customer, not the dealership's promise. So I take it seriously too.
It goes that liability piece, which is why we screen record everything. Everything we do, we screen record the sessions, we keep it on file. That way, if as something happens down the line, the shop has the ability to pull it up and say, well, when it left here, it was good to go.
And I'll say, we talk about liability a lot, and I know I like to drive that home because that usually gets a lot of people's attention. But even if we lived in a world where liability and lawsuits weren't a thing, doing the right thing is still a thing. Do the right thing.
Sure. I think I say it every time. The byproduct of doing the right thing is you can make a little money too. So it should be a revenue generator. And that's why we're in business.
I live in this town. I mean, I always, my dad used to, he opened the shop in the 70s, and we live in this town. We go to church in this town. We eat in this town. We buy our groceries in this town. The cars I work on, I will see them, and I want to look them in the eye.
That's right.
I mean, so it is what it is.
Yeah. And
Especially
today, you
in
want to make sure
Arkansas.
that car coming towards you is operating.
I want it to look
properly.
me in the eye.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That guy's going to be on the opposite side someday, and I want that eyesight to work correctly so that we don't have to call Devin and explain it.
Exactly. All right.
All right. Well,
All right.
Devin, thank you again. Thanks to the entire Subaru team. Thanks to the Wadsworth team. I know we had them on standby in case we needed them. So thank you all for joining us. AirPro Diagnostics, once again, it's always a pleasure to work with you. And we're going to be back at, 2
I think, Jason, I think we got to bring the boys back again. I'm looking at the numbers and live active viewership and participation. This is the highest show yet. You beat my
we'll come
Crucial
back,
Conversation
don't worry.
show. So I was leading it.
I've been to Arkansas twice.
Yeah.
Both times I've been in this building.
All
right,
what more do you need?
I just felt second place, Jason.
We'll come back.
We're going to do a special.
We'll make that commitment. We'll get with the Collision Hub team, and we'll determine based off the questions what kind of follow-up show we can do at a later date, and we'll go from there. But we'll definitely come back and get some set up.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be back at 2 o'clock.
We're back at 2:30 with Vitek. So I mean, if you've watched Collision Hub over the last couple of years, you've seen me using a lot of Vitek products. Vitek's going to launch a new product officially today with us.
Awesome.
And then we're going to go through the complete Vitek product line. And if you aren't able to buy Vitek in your market, we're going to tell you how you can buy it through me.
Awesome.
All right. Awesome.
And don't forget, visit the Collision Repair Education Foundation.
Make a
that
donation.
$50 donation and get your limited edition Chubb Craft Technician shirt. Kind of similar to Josh, but it's from Cintas.
But it's not. It's kind of similar to Josh's, but not.
Well, he can buy one though. He can make a donation.
I'll tell you what.
So
We'll give you Josh's shirt.
Not right now.
yes, please, not right now.
All right, so hashtag give Josh his shirt. There was a hashtag on here and asking if Josh was giving away hugs. So Kyle up in St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
It depends on whether he's wearing
Typically,
a
it's
shirt.
Kyle who's not wearing a shirt.
I was going to say, it depends on whether he's wearing a shirt.
Facebook, it's.
Good Lord.
All right.
Put on a
All
shirt,
right,
Kyle.
thanks everybody.
We'll see you soon.